What's going on, guys? JSGC here, back again for another daily Manchester City transfer update. Before I do crack on with today's update, make sure, like always, if you are enjoying the content, then do subscribe to my channel. It is free to subscribe. I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day with all the latest City transfer news here on YouTube. So if you haven't already, do subscribe. Social media links are in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too if you want to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries, and do get your thoughts as well in the comments below, and do leave a thumbs up. We're aiming for 300 likes. So it's all about the outs once more here at Manchester City, and we've got the very latest on former Manchester City man Scott Carson, because I've been quite curious about what is next in terms of Scott Carson and his potential development, about whether he wants to retire and maybe go into coaching, or retire and put his feet up and do nothing, or retire and do something else, or if he wants to continue playing football, and if he does he want to be a third choice keeper somewhere else, or a backup keeper somewhere else, or does he want to be a first choice goalkeeper? What's going to happen? There's lots of possibilities here. So Alan Nixon has said that with Scott Carson's contract coming to an end, Scott Carson is not planning on retiring just yet, and does want to be playing on a more regular basis, and he is keen on a move to the Championship, which is in the English Football League, one division below the Premier League, of course. Now, I'm not too sure, because I know for a fact that the Championship is a very competitive league. There is a lot of high-quality players, and for the big break that Scott Carson has taken away from football through not playing on a regular basis, I can't see him waltzing in at any Championship team and being their number one starter. But it's all about him wanting to play on a more regular basis, so maybe he'd be happy to be an understudy, a second choice goalkeeper, a goalkeeper who's there for experience to teach another goalkeeper, and also provide competitive competition at another Championship team. So I can't see him being first choice at any Championship team. I can see him being a backup goalkeeper, a second choice goalkeeper at a Championship club. However, if he does want to be playing on a more regular basis and wants to be a first choice goalkeeper, I don't see any reason why Scott Carson couldn't potentially have a look a little further down the English Football League. Maybe not for the second tier of English football, the Championship, but certainly into the third tier and fourth tier, League One, League Two. I could see Scott Carson being a first choice goalkeeper for quite a few League One and League Two sides. So it's all about, what does Scott Carson want to be? Does he want to be a starter? Does he want to be a backup goalkeeper? What's he happy on going to be doing? And it's this term that can be used very loosely of playing on a more regular basis. What does that mean, and where's he going to end up? So we'll see what the future does hold, but it's looking like Scott Carson not going to be retiring, according to Alan Nixon, and wants to continue playing here in England. So we'll see which club does end up taking Scott Carson on. I can't imagine there's going to be many clubs in the English Football League that would be keen on paying Scott Carson's wage that he was on at Manchester City, which was £34,000 a week, which I'm sure a lot of you guys who watch Premier League football on a regular basis will be thinking that doesn't sound like all that much money, but there isn't anywhere near as much money in the Championship, in League One and League Two, so he'd definitely have to compromise and come down on his asking price when it comes to his wages. So we'll see what does happen. To me, it sounds like Wrexham, doesn't it? It sounds like a second choice goalkeeper at Wrexham or something, a club that's willing to pay him a little bit more than everybody else, and gets to feature in the documentary. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, moving on, we've got the latest on City youngster Tyrese Noubissie. Now, he is of interest to Manchester United's academy, according to the Manchester Evening News. He plays in the Manchester City academy, of course. Now, he does have a lot of interest in him. RB Leipzig, Strasbourg and Manchester United are all interested in potentially bringing him in. Manchester City did only sign him back in 2023 from Leicester City. Manchester City paid £1 million to acquire his services. Now, he does play for the Manchester City under-18 side. He is a defender. He's 16 years old. He's not a professional player as of yet, and with no fee agreed between Manchester City and Manchester United or any other interested party. If a fee can't be agreed but the player wants to walk away, he can do so, but it would need to be an agreement on a compensation package. If an agreement cannot be found, then it does tend to go to the courts, where a suitable amount will be provided to the club that lose the player. I don't think it would go down or go towards them lengths. I think Manchester City would probably be happy to negotiate and accept a good bid here when it comes to interest in Tyrese Noubissie. Manchester City will want to make profit. They signed him for £1 million in 2023, so we would be looking at a deal worth more than £1 million here for Manchester City to let an academy player leave. And to be honest, it is what it is in the academy. You know, Manchester City have pinched players from Manchester United's academy and lots of other top academies from around the world and brought them to their academy. And Manchester City are also vulnerable to the wants of academy players. And if academy players feel like they're going to make it pro another club, or they feel like another club's a better fit for them, then they're going to explore that whilst they can, whilst there's not as much of an expectation on the player when it comes to negotiating a successful transfer. So academy movements here, as I said, rivalry isn't really as deep rooted into the academy as you would see in the first team. Certainly if this was the Manchester City first team and us losing a player to Manchester United, blood would boil. When it comes to the academy though, we've taken their youngsters before, they've taken our youngsters before. It's one of them things that does happen in the academy. So any further developments on that, I will of course keep you up to date with all the happenings from the academy with Noubissie and all the other players. Anyway, moving on to the final transfer, we've had a big update in the last 24 hours when it comes to the future of James McAtee. Now, Florian Plenttenberg said last night in Germany that James McAtee has planned a trip to Frankfurt for this upcoming week to scout out Frankfurt, to be shown around Eintracht Frankfurt's ground, their facilities, have talks with them and look around the local area, see what the vibe is and see if he's feeling that vibe as to whether he wants to make a transfer there. He does say that Florian Plenttenberg that this is still an open race, and it isn't ruled out that James McAtee, whilst he's in Germany, could be speaking with other German clubs as well. As there's a lot of interest in James McAtee from other German clubs. It's believed that Borussia Dortmund are very keen on making a move for McAtee, and it's believed that McAtee is keen on making a move to Germany. I do believe that James McAtee would prefer a move to Germany than he would to stay in England. He feels like he can progress better and further in Germany than he can in England right now. So James McAtee's preference is moving to a German club. The question is here that Man City have already had interest and clubs making it known how much they're willing to spend. For Man City to accept the bids from German clubs, they're going to have to match what the English teams are prepared to spend. We was reporting the other day that Nottingham Forest, they were prepared to spend up to £25 million plus add-ons to make a transfer happen for James McAtee this summer. So if Eintracht Frankfurt or Borussia Dortmund or any other German club want to make this transfer happen, then they're going to have to match what Nottingham Forest are willing to pay, maybe even better their asking price. It puts a good position for Manchester City on the negotiation table. It also puts James McAtee and his camp in a good position, because they can go to the German clubs and say, the Premier League teams are willing to pay this, what are you willing to pay? And it's all about assessing about what does James McAtee think is best in terms of his financial value, with Manchester City's financial value here, and also what he feels is best in terms of his development as well. And that's why he's in Germany, to try and get everything thrashed out and sorted ahead of pre-season, which is going to be coming to an end in the next couple of weeks, and that's when McAtee would be expected back in Manchester. But considering he's not gone to the Club World Cup, it would make a lot of sense here for Man City to get a move on and get a transfer sorted, so that in a couple of weeks when he's ready to return back for pre-season, it'll be with his new team rather than with Manchester City. City wanting around £40 million for James McAtee, clubs willing to spend around £20 to £25 million. City are interested in having sell-on values included, so sell-on clauses and also buyback clauses included on this transfer as well. And the latest that we've had on this in the last hour from Fabrizio Romano, James McAtee is now in Germany. He is in Frankfurt holding talks with Eintracht Frankfurt, scouting the club, scouting the stadium, scouting the facilities, scouting the area, and seeing if he wants to make that move to Eintracht Frankfurt. A lot of money for them to invest to bring James McAtee in particular, with him having less than 11 months left on his City contract, which James McAtee is not interested in signing a new contract with Manchester City, so I'm certain that he will leave this summer. The big question now is, where does James McAtee want to go? And if Eintracht Frankfurt are to be the club, are they going to match and better everybody else what they're willing to pay? Do they want to use some of that Omar Marmoush money that Manchester City gave them back in the January transfer window to make a transfer happen between Manchester City and James McAtee to go to Eintracht Frankfurt? We'll have to wait and see. What I will say though is Man City's relations with Eintracht Frankfurt, very good from that transfer of Omar Marmoush, so I wouldn't rule out James McAtee making that transfer, in particular if today he's impressed by what he sees and he feels the vibe of the city and of the club as well. So that has been today's transfer update. If you did enjoy this video, please do leave a thumbs up. We're aiming for 300 likes. Also, don't forget as well to leave your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new around here. Press that red button, press the bell, and put your push notifications on. It is free to subscribe, and I'm going to keep you guys up to date every single day here on YouTube with all the latest City transfer news, so do subscribe. Also, don't forget social media links there in the description if you want to go and follow me on my X, Instagram and TikTok. Email also in the description too. Going to hit me up for any sponsorships for any videos or any general business inquiries, and I'll see you all again religiously tomorrow for the next daily Manchester City transfer update. So I've been JSGC. Thank you everyone for watching. Hope everyone is safe and well. Peace. Ciao for now.